Good morning. I am higher vibrations, and so are you. Um, this is another strange streaming example of this awesome show that we're doing every week, every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time now on the Soulogy Network.com platform. Um, Due to the fact that Soulogy is in Sedona, Arizona, so any of you out there who are in the area of Sedona and want to get together and just be in a space of other people who are on this awakening journey and this celebration of the equinox and the four corners area of the sacred lands, head on over there to you can find the address for where the Soulogy people are at the soulogynetwork.com, as well as on Facebook, the Soulogy. A lot of people know who Todd Medina is. Anyway, so this is now being aired right now for this moment on my platforms, though it will go onto the Soulogy network.com platform in order for us to be able to have reviewability there. And today I'm being joined by the lovely Sandra McEllis. Sandra here, I've talked to her. Now I've been saying your name right. Is it Sandra or Sandra?
Sandra.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure because I have some Sandras in my life now too, so it's like a thing.
Sure.
Um, I met Sandra probably it's been about a year and a half now, hasn't it? It's been a while.
Yeah.
She has her own YouTube channel and own been doing this for quite some time. She has quite the following I've noticed lately. That's fun to watch you grow and be able to reach out and help so many beautiful souls. And so welcome to you and thank you for joining today.
Hmm. Thank you for having me, Pamela. It's always a pleasure. I remember how we first met. I think you had posted something on Facebook, or no, I wasn't even Facebook friends. I think it was YouTube. And I came across something and you were saying something. And I always have these spiny senses of seeing straight through to like authenticity or not. And I went, oh, yeah, there's a fellow soul sister. And I think I messaged you and I said, we need to connect. And I think that's actually how we connected. I
Awesome.
don't know about you, but being super empathic and living your life in that way, um, I don't cut corners. It just goes straight to the heart of somebody, and I can kind of feel, see, and sense if there's this realness or if there's layers of cellophane and facade, and you didn't have any of those.
Well, thank you.
Welcome. Thanks for being you.
Of course, that's the easiest thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's true for everything too. I mean, you get that kind of it feels funky. It feels funky being around somebody who's pretending. And it feels funky to pretend. Like I think that's why it feels funky to feel people who are being that way is that we're feeling them feeling funky. But
Yeah.
and we'll go through phases. All everybody does where it's like, well, we're supposed to, and then you realize there's no supposed to, so you stop doing that kind of thing again and go back to truth, right?
Yeah, and I think you go through sifting through the masquerade, the masks that people wear out there, and then when you can tune in and see right through it, then you ask yourself, okay, so what do I do with that? Well, maybe it's just because I'm supposed to just know that I can see through it, or maybe it's just because I'm tuning and fine tuning my own empathic skills of seeing things. So yeah, that when you see people and you're around people that are not authentic, you can get caught up in that funky sludge, and then you're like, am I supposed to stay here in this or bypass it?
Right.
You want to run like hell, at least I do. But sometimes I have to make myself stay there and go through what I call that superficial flabber blabber,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. I'll troll for a minute. You know what I mean by trolling is like when you're in in the water and you're just kind of like you'll just kind of go through for a second and then it's just like no, I'm all set. Like I'm I'm naturally a solo kind of person anyway, so it's not like I'm like cutting any losses that might be something that I'll be sad about later on.
No, I feel you. And I think there's many of us out here that are on this trail. and we're blazing kind of by ourselves, but yet we have this collective group that we talk with, but there's very few in the intimate circle of hanging out with people. And as much as I could do socializing, I'm as much of an introvert as I am an extrovert. And so a lot of what I do is solo. And I think a lot of that too is because I can see, sense, and feel um, the unauthentic or inauthenticness of those that are around me. And was asking myself this on a walk today is my tolerance level just gets shorter and shorter and shorter. And I ask myself why. We're programmed to judge. We're programmed to be on one side of the fence or the other. And when you really learn to be adaptable, pivot, and swing and turn, you got to kind of touch down in all those arenas, and you can't just stay in the one that you're most comfortable in.
That's right. That's right. And if we try to, then we'll miss out on so much awesomeness, right?
Yeah. Because it's just information that we're learning to filter.
Yeah.
It's just information. It isn't necessarily good, bad, or indifferent. We don't know why someone else is really living a masquerade or has, different shields in front of them. We don't know the reasons why that is. So, I'm learning to sort of just be in the presence of all of it and have less judgment. But there are times where I'm saturated just from other things, and I get a little more sensitive to it, and I'm like, I got to get the frick out of here. Nah, can't
Yeah.
do this falsification crapola, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It's just too
Yeah.
much work, and it's in the end it all ends up unraveling anyway.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Surely does. The truth finds its way through sorting through all the information. Absolutely.
Right.
And we're in that involvement right now of all this that's going on. Um, I want to call it like intunements. We're all going through these massive intunements. We can call it ascension symptoms, we can call it evolution, but without these intunements and this retraining of our inner DNA, um, we're just sort of living in the old program and judging it and trying to get out of it or find something to replace it, instead of learning how to really work with the DNA cells and what it's trying to share with us. So, we're all on this massive roller coaster, short and long.
Yeah. Yeah. And it feels, and we know each other are each other. We know that there's soul contracts is the words that they use. I choose not to use the word contract because it seems it feels like that word is meant to be, you feel like it's more binding than it actually is. Like you're more stuck in, a contract sounds like you can't get out of it. And it's an agreement. It's a soul agreement. And there's several of them. So like we'll have like 8 people who are all coming with the agreement to do the same thing depending on if where you get at what time. Like if it's somebody who's supposed to cut you off in traffic, how many different lights were there? How many other factors were involved in with the timing when your cars would meet, and so if this car didn't do it, it was going to be this car, and if that car didn't do it, and so on. The same concept in other ways in our lives, and so we have multiple characters who are presenting themselves that are supposed to do that thing. They're supposed to do that thing. And so the reason I'm bringing this up right now is what you had said reminded me, or is just this is where I feel like we are in this equinox right now, is that we're all now at this moment. We'd been doing it here and there for there was always going on, but until right now, it's not been where everybody at the same time are all reminding each other of each other, and this at the same moment. And so there's this quaking kind of sensation a lot of people are having, a lot of this weird, like funky emotions coming through right now. And this big, massive purge as this plug of density just left yesterday, and like, I'm curious, what's your experience been with regarding all of this stuff?
Well, I think that was for me, it's been compound with also my solar return. So there's been this reflection of things that are happening. And even if I'm not consciously aware of it, my cellular DNA was bringing up a lot of sensitivity, a lot of emotions around things. And, I think we get caught up in pinpointing what triggers them
Right.
so that we can make logical sense of it when we're actually moving into this world of not being so caught up in the mental and getting more into the other areas that life has to offer, including our hearts. And so I would say that I wanted to spend more time in solidarity. Conversations that I had were very difficult with people because it was like we weren't speaking the same
Yeah.
phonetic language, even though it was both English. And so it's left me extremely miffed and befuddled, and it's sometimes pissed. But I, at the same time, really diligently worked on making myself stay fully present and anchored in my physical body so that I could feel, not just hear, that I was sensing it with different sensories so I could understand it differently. And I can't say that I had more compassion for the conversations that were going on, but I did notice that it lightened up something that could have caught fire
Mm,
easily within that person or myself. So we have all these triggers coming up, and most people think of triggers as, you know, uh, putting our hands on hot stoves and then, oh, got to pay attention to that because it's just set me off. Um, but triggers are coming in so many different ways that are unexplained.
yeah.
And many of them are just simply to become aware and release them and then figure out where you're holding them in your body. I mean, I went through this week of not knowing if my back was going to give out.
Yeah.
Now, did I lift something heavy? Did I do a 30-day cleanse? Yeah. This all collided at the exact same week as so many other things were happening. So could I say, it's just because I did this and logically go through it? Or could I just say all the trains met and freaking collided and I thought my physical was going to need some medication
Yeah.
in more ways than one. But instead, I just really have worked through breathing through it. And I noticed yesterday also that it was lifting, 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 lifting. By yesterday evening, it was a little bit better. Today, definitely so much better.
Yeah.
And not to the point where it's like, woo, but it's sort of okay. Yeah, so that's kind of how I went through it.
I can resonate with that. I'll add the characterization of the what the energy feels like when it moves through right now. These triggers, these particular triggers, like actually there's Joanna says much more subtle lately, these triggers that and more rapid and constant. I agree with that. Um I found that the sensation of these particular triggers are coming in, they feel like pixelized energy, and it's weird to say it, but it's blocky. Like it's square. It's blocky. Like as it comes up from the feet, it's always in the front of the body. This where this emotion's coming in, and I don't know if this. I have only the past 2 or so years noticed where on my body the emotion energy goes to. And I think it's important to share it. I'm not sure why. And but I'm just saying it for anyone who's listening in, and that um, it's on the front of the body. It starts at the front of the feet, the toes, and the front of the feet, up, 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 all the way up to the front. And then it kind of dies out like right here in this part. But like, um, and it's cold and it's pixelated. It feels like cubes, like it's blocky. And I don't mean that it's masculine energy. I mean that it's um, a bunch of segregated, like it's like a whole, so it's like a population of energy. And so there's something about this. I think that each cube represents a time, a date, a year, a lifetime as well, that these things happened. Remembering, just as you kind of alluded to already, we are here um, at this one lifetime dealing with a multitude of lifetimes simultaneously, right? And like this particular lifetime's like our crescendo. or what's the better word? Encore. What's the word? The grand finale. That's the word. It's a the grand finale. And so,
Mm-hmm.
um, having said that, we're dealing with a whole population of ourself, however many times these things have happened. So there's something in contrast I wanted to add too. Is it's called a shimmer or a glimmer. Have you heard of this? The opposite of a trigger.
No, but when you said that, it felt like I do know, but I just probably am not going to explain it the same way you do. So please do.
It's the cool stuff. It's the good shit that comes in after it, and and also sometimes it just happens because, like, for instance, um, we will have this um, glimmers. Thank you, Joanna. I just barely learned this word, and like the same as you, I was like, oh yeah, I totally get that. It's the reward part. It's the, oh, that's better. It's all it's the opposite of a trigger. So it's the moments of like, we're really freaking doing this. Like, we are really on this, like, because we when we are in the place of trigger, when we're in the place of like disharmony and we're like in flux, I don't know about you, but for me, I go, am I crazy? Like, am I just making all this stuff up? Like, is this, like, I know a lot of people had struggled the past couple of this week has been really hard for a lot of people who have been doing this for years and are practitioners and stuff have been emailing me saying, I don't know if I want to even believe any of this bullshit anymore. I think I'm giving up. Let's just dial in, yeah, you too. Would you care to expand on that at all?
Well, I think while I withdraw from listening to so many other people over the years and really get my messages and, get glimmers of, yeah, I'm absolutely supposed to be here, or something synergistic will occur. And then I'll get a dream that will awaken something. And then all of a sudden, I'm in this, what I call stall zone. And I feel like I'm stalling and things aren't moving. And then I feel the time trickery, right?
Right.
Like all these time zones, time changes, been there, done that, deja vus, all these things happening to the point where, I sort of erased my brain 6 years ago and I'm trying to learn all new information as it comes in. So there have been times recently, the last 6 months, and especially in the last 10 days, where I'm like, I don't even know. I don't know what's up, what's down, what's sideways, what's really the truth. I'm going to need more information and I'll get that little something, something, just enough to get me my hook in it, right?
Right.
To the point where I'm like, I'm unhooking. I'm unhooking. Y'all are going to have to do more than this for me because it's just not, it's not working. And I'm kind of done. So they'll go for like days and not even put out a video. I won't even really get a message.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can understand that. I want off of yesterday's trains. I want off of them.
Right. I like this. Yeah. Good
Yeah.
quote.
Yeah.
I want off of yesterday's trains.
Yeah.
Amen, sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm done too. I'm so
Yeah.
done. I am so done.
Yeah. And I realize that we're in this change and that we're in what you might call that gray area if you were going to look at it on a piece of paper. You're not dark, you're not light, you're in the gray area of transition. And I understand that. I do. And I understand that some of us have been in here swimming around a lot longer than others and we're freaking bored. We're ready to get up here and start, bringing more people on board with, you know, assisting them because we've worked hard for our tools
Yeah.
to assist others. And then sometimes I feel like I just got to the stop sign before everybody else did, and I'm just waiting for everyone to catch up. That's been going on in the last 12 months where I've just been like, then why did I hurry here? And did I hurry here? Maybe I need to go back. Maybe I need to relearn some stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, but is that, am I mentally fucking with myself here that I
Right.
have to go back and redo something? And then I just have to ask for more guidance. Sometimes guidance means I need to just plant sit and anchor and just woosah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a
Uh,
lot of information in the not knowing. There's a lot of information in the not doing. We are accustomed as humans to do, to respond,
right.
to react, to retrieve information based on what it is that we've done because we're trained that that's our confirmation. And I think everything is changing and going differently. And I think what you were talking about with that front body energy, um, it's opening up different chakras, different pathways of information, and it's so unknown that we're left sort of spinning,
Right.
smoking, and we're not sure what we're seeing through it all. So we just kind of have to wait for some things to clear,
Right.
is what I get.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That we're in a transitory period. That's what they keep saying. You're in a
Yes.
transitory period. Transitory means some place between here and there. It's part of the destination, not the or part of the journey, not the destination itself.
Yes.
Right. And
Yes.
last week we had Josie Jackson on, and she had mentioned that we're technically not really on any earth, that we're in the in between place, that we're in like this place between earths to like recalibrate in order to get to that place. And I can resonate with that. There's a lot of different directions or angles to look at how and where we are. um does it really matter? I don't think so. I think it's fun, it's intriguing, it's entertaining. I have to say though, I'm with you. Hey, it's 222. I'm with you. Is that for 30 years, literally for 30 years, I've been stalling. I've been slowing down my ascension experience, and I've been kind of like waiting for people. And it's interesting because it's not that I slowly became impatient. It was just one day I was like, fuck you all. You coming or not? I don't care. See you over there or not. Like that's what I feel like today. And it's just been the past 3 or 4 days. And I'm just like, I'm fucking done. I'm done. If you want to come, then come. I don't want to hear any more fucking stories. I'm tired of victim bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
real. Shut the fuck up. Get on the train or get out of the way.
Open the window up and jump the fuck out. Okay?
Yes.
Jump the fuck out of what you boxed yourself into, what
Yes.
you participated with in multiple decades that you've lived here in many lifetimes. Open the window up, have the courage just to jump the hell out and accept the fact that there will be multiple parachutes there
Right.
and glides and slides and people to help you. There are times when I'm like, do you know how hard I work to put out my shingle and to get a little website going and to
Mhm.
take all these courses so I could be there for you people? Well, when I do that, it's like, that's a victim. I'm acting like a victim. I'm complaining. But I'm like, I had the courage to jump out the window decades ago. Come on, folks, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We need
And
to
some
take a leap.
and a lot of times you find out when you finally get tired and you're just done with the bullshit and it's time to do something different, then everybody's like, "Oh, cool. You could do that." And then they're coming too, and it's like, "Oh, well, now everybody's following." Which is great. It's great. It's last train to Clarksville, Genevieve. Last train.
Yeah. Don't start
Yeah,
singing because we all will.
I know. It's totally. I love singing. I just not at all good at it.
Yeah, I'm not either, but who cares? I'm
Yes.
solo most of the time. The plants are still surviving, so I guess I must be doing all right.
When my daughter was 3, she
Mm.
walked like 2 or 3 acres across our property to tell me to stop singing because it was disturbing her. Yeah, that's how bad I sing. But I don't know.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Out of the mouth of babes, man. They're so
Oh,
honest. And speaking of babes, you know, there's many out here who are talking about all these new kids coming in with all this new energy. And yeah, yeah, they are. But I want everyone to be aware of the fact that there are many people that have come before these babes paving the way
yeah,
for safe haven, for them to come in with this. And that includes the inner child within all of us, no matter what linear age we are.
Yeah.
So it's an awakening of our own inner selves, the innocence of the heart, finding the still points within all of that, and allowing ourselves to just really get in touch and get some of that debris out of the way. So not only are we seeing the inner child within ourselves having a safe haven for others that have come before us, and the hard work that we are individually doing collectively, that's also allowing the platform for the new heartbeats that are coming in. And together we wind up really activating each other. But it takes each and every one of you out there listening to start doing your work.
Yeah.
And to open that window up and jump the frick out. Put your cleats on. Take it. Yeah. And land in Pam's or my hands and start working on yourselves, because I know the work that we do helps empower you. It's not about having you as a client for years to come, although we'll wind up loving you, but it's to empower you and give you the tools, or at least help you awaken the tools within yourselves. Then you're going to be able to see the individuals around you differently.
Yeah.
And the new children that are coming in, and the new children, a lot of them are the inner child within each of us that are here to explore and work on these still points of that heartbeat together.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I love this that you arc this way, because this conversation point is something that's really personal for me. Is that the plan was that I was to be somebody who was a toddler right now. Like that was going to be the goal. And this would have been my third life, and instead it's my first since the fall, back in the deluge. Um, and so I would have been a toddler right now, and it's weird because I'm noticing as we get to this side of the end, then it makes that then I'm gravitating toward one or the other, and it's making a lot of sense.
Sure.
Genevieve says I call the babies the Calvary, and yeah, like the first waivers are the ones that and second waivers, all the waivers really, but I mean, the first and second waivers are the ones I get the kind of work that they're still doing. I mean, I'm considered a second waiver chronologically. If you know any of Dolores Cannon's stuff, she talks a lot about this. This is really why I listened to Dolores Cannon to begin with, because she was talking about the visions I was having, and I was like, this grandma, she's so cute, like curly, like one of those like upholstered chairs, everything, and like that's grandma telling my story.
Yes.
I thought that was really cool. But so she has some stuff about the waivers or the 3 waves of volunteers, and there were 3 waves of volunteers that went out, and one group were the first wave, so they came first, and then after that time frame, another group of people were incarnated who were considered the second wave of volunteers, and so on. The first wave came into the most dense, the most difficult space. But what's also happening with the first waivers right now is they came in with the ability to metastasize, to metabolize, to digest fear and anger. That is the way that it's spoken here. So the language that's spoken here is in fear and anger, or was in the world place. And so people would speak in fear, and then anger would come out, but it would be fear, and then the fear would be the response. Anyway, now that we're leaving behind this place, the areas of the body that metastasized the fear and the anger, the bitterness, these types of things, these organs are struggling. We're talking about the liver, we're talking about the gallbladder, the kidneys, this pancreas, this whole area. So like typically it's the right side of the body, near to the solar plexus and or the sacral chakras. Okay, so and then the digestion stuff about this is all because of there's no longer a need for us to be able to metabolize fear. we're being made to release it. Anyway, sorry, you brought this up, and it's very
No, no, I always love the way we bounce. And, we had no idea what we were going to talk about when we came on. We had no preliminary chat. We just boom, hit record, and here we are. And those are some of my most favorite get-togethers, is to do that. And we have many different waves. And I think probably Dolores, being on the other side, might be able to describe some of that even more detail now, because we're going to continue to have the waves. And Genevieve, I appreciate you saying the Calvary, but in programming, the Calvary is the one that comes in and saves the day, or wins the fight, or whatever. We are all the Calvary, and it's the baby within us, the inner child within us, that is learning to come out, and the innocence of that. And of course, that's a metaphor for doing all your work and getting the debris and the things that have bound you, the belief systems, the programming, the old paradigms, things that just don't really fit your inner core, but maybe you bobbed and weaved and followed them because you just didn't have that aha yet. And we're going to have more ahas and ahas. And when you're talking, Pam, about the waves and all that, I was just saying to a friend of mine this a week ago that many of us in around 2019, when we knew something was coming, we didn't know what it was, and then it wound up to what it was. And there are many of us that said, oh, I'm not going to participate, I'm not feeding into the fear, I'm not taking the calls, I'm not doing the I'm just not going to do it, right? I feel like we're up here kind of like in this limbo land, right? And now you're going to have all these below it that either kind of fed into it, or maybe had to be a part of it, or contributed to it, or maybe were anti this group. They're going to now have their ahas. And I feel like, from what my visions have shown me, they're going to be the ones to carry the next torch up to where we are.
right.
And so that's how I've been shown it. And again, it all goes back to, can you stand in your authentic self? Can you anchor that energy and really be in it, and not worry about if you're liked or disliked, if you're coincidentally coinciding with what another group thinks? Are you okay with not even knowing how anybody else thinks, and just stand on who you are and
Yeah.
just be there in that space? And when you're in that space, you'll feel, like you're saying, Pamela, the liver, the pancreas, the digestive, you will feel your inner organs taking some shift.
Yeah.
Now, I could say shit, because some of them are feeling pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Like and you can use the word detox. I like to say, release some crap and fortify what it is that you have, because nothing energetically will matter if you don't take care of this physical vessel,
Yes.
because it houses everything. Everything is stuck to it like glue. It's post-it notes everywhere, energetically, physically, inner, outer. You don't take care of this fulcrum, you will not balance
Right.
anything in the way that you were intended to balance it. And that, my friends, is where you learn how to dive into the tools to be you, to embody you, to be the sole participant in these waves and these Himalayan mountains that we're all
Yeah.
going through, peaks and valleys and seas and lakes and, downstream, upstream, whatever it is.
Yeah. It's 234. It's fun. I love seeing those numbers. You brought something up that, so I kept seeing over and over again the salmon run, and then that
Yes.
last thing that you said was very indicative of salmon.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm those of you who know me, I'm very involved in like the Native American, the medicine of the animals, the totem kind of stuff,
Yes,
and
girl.
salmon is
Yes.
actually one of my personal totem, and this uh so what happens, what a salmon does, it goes, uh I don't know why, but even though for 4 years I've just never gone upstream, all of a sudden I need to go upstream. And they go opposite the water that they've ever gone before. And so you'll see them going over the waterfall the wrong way. You'll see that they change to this really crazy bright orange color, and they get these crazy teeth. They're like, "Rrr," they're angry, and they get this weird like hump on their back, and they're just aggressive. They're not normally aggressive fish, you know, and they're just like biting the tail of the person in front of them and stuff, and just really, I need to go. I'm compelled, and that's what most of
Yes.
us are doing. We're going through some crazy body stuff. We're detoxing. We're purging. Like you mentioned, this purging that's happening here. I mean, we're having some serious removal of toxins during this time. Um, and then on top of it, we are doing stuff completely different than what we've done in our entire life. And we don't really know why always. And, you know, and then we'll have crowds of people going, "Hey, you're being weird. What are you doing? Come back over here," you know? And we're just like, "I don't know why, but I got to go up that mountain."
Yes. Yes, something's pulling me.
Mhm.
I'm getting a burst of energy to go opposite of what everybody else is going. And you know, when you were saying that too, they're really getting the salmon are really getting their burst of energy. It's about survival. They just instinctively have to get to where they're going. And of course, we know why, right? To lay eggs and rebirth and all that stuff. However, you notice how all games are like that too. You have an offense and a defense. You always have someone on the opposite side of the game that keeps things balanced and interesting. So not everybody can go downstream.
Yeah.
Not everybody can just row your boat. You know, it's just like la la la. Have tepid waters, and you're going to have some massive wavy waters and tipping over and all that stuff, which for some reason is bringing up accidents for me right now. And you know, some will say nothing's an accident. Well, I'm a believer that if you're really aligned with yourself, you can prevent certain things from happening because you're aware of where you're standing. You're in your breath, you're in your circumference, you're reading the peripheral energies. And so maybe less accidents may occur and you may meet the right people and all those things. And then there's people that will fall down and hurt themselves and do this, and that, and say, well, I don't understand why that accident happened. If accidents are really meant to happen, why did I get hurt by it? Right.
Yeah.
But we're all meant to sift and shift through by being conscientious. And we can avoid a lot of harm to ourselves if we stay in this conscious mind. The unconscious mind is one big storage unit of habitual repeat. You know, it's yesterday's train.
Mhm.
You know, some serves a purpose, some's got to be released, some's a gold mine, gold nuggets in there, treasures that have been hidden. But we've got to work more on the conscious mind. And in the conscious mind, we have to feel. We have to feel the energy in motion, and it will stir up a lot of stuff that we're taught to stuff down, putting more burden on the heart, putting more burden on the liver that has to process everything, every thought, every droplet of food, nutrients, and water has to go through that liver. It has to funnel through every organ and every chemical release that's required for each thing to work in optimal synergy with each other requires us to let go of a lot of stuff that doesn't serve us. So we have to refortify and get in there. And you can call it a detox, like, oh, I'm so full of crap and I gotta do this and that. You can do that. And some people will look like I'm such a bad person because I've done all the looking at a detox as a negative, then change your words and saying, you know, what can I do to switch things up to fortify and strengthen what it is I have? So, and it's going to create you wanting to be in your physical body a little bit more once you get past all the lumps and bumps and stones and the crap you have taken in over lifetimes.
Yeah.
It's not just the food and the water and those out there who've had the agenda to corrupt those. Sure, you could waddle in that, or you could just say, I have a feeling these things have gone on, and regardless of how they've gone on, I'm going to make changes in my life. I've made enough changes naturally in my life that I don't even know what the frick to eat or drink anymore.
I know.
To the point where I'm like, oh, no, I don't think so. You want to go out to lunch? Yeah, I don't know what I'm eating on my plate. I'm just like looking through. Is this an oxalate? Is it a lectin? Does this have toxins on it? You know, it's like I don't even I don't even know anymore. To the past couple years where food just doesn't turn me on.
I know it used to be a celebration food. Like you go and do family or friends or gatherings and it's food. And now it's just like, why is there food there? It's in the way. Like, like I don't, it's changed. A lot of people are liquefying their diet. They're eating, they're drinking their food now. Like it's becoming more of like a juicing and there's so much going into this. The other part of it too is what does it mean? What is the organ that's calling out? What emotion is that based on? Like a liver is anger, looking up these lifetimes of emotion that we haven't looked at, and um I just wanted to add this one little thing real quickly too, because I think this is important.
Please.
Oh, Sherry Hitchin asked a little while ago. She says she's 73. What wave am I? You are a first waver, girlfriend, and you rock it. So I just wanted to answer that question. So the idea too is that a lot of us have like get so involved in like filtering our diets and what we put in our body and what we don't and all this stuff with our logic and not so much our heart, and maybe you're still doing it with your heart too. You're guiding, you're listening to your body, what your body does and doesn't want. At the same time, I'm finding myself needing to say lately a lot, don't forget to be a human. Enjoy the human experience. You know what? I'm going to say this, and some people are going to get probably like, why did you say that? I don't do this because my body doesn't like it. However, a lot of bodies don't mind it. And so have a beer, enjoy yourself, dude. You're human right now. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your time. If it's going to affect you, for me, when I put alcohol in my body gets icky, like it feels gross. I don't enjoy myself. And so I personally don't. And, we also, when we put toxins in our body, there's going to be something that we're going to do tomorrow. Like if you're going to drink tonight, you're going to want a lot more water tomorrow and whatever else. But what I'm saying is enjoy yourself too. Like when are we going to be human again?
That's right. Allow your taste buds bless everything no matter what it is. I mean, there's times when I'm at someone else's house or I've gone to dinner and I'm limited on what I can eat. I just bless what I have and I do my best through it. It's when I'm by myself trying to figure it out. I'm like, my fork is shoveling things across. I'm like a little kid going, oh,
Yeah.
whatever. But we have to, we've been taught to go outside of our bodies to get information outside of our bodies to find bliss and euphoria and we have all this stuff that can allow us to do that, good, bad, and indifferent, right?
Right.
But we really have to get grounded and be in the body and feel every tick, feel every movement of that body and be in appreciation of what autonomically and automatically does what it's supposed to do, because you don't have to remind your heart to beat or your lung to move, but you can override it and ask your lung to move in deeper. You can ask your heart to beat faster or slower. You can control a lot of things once you learn to start playing in these valleys of your physical blood, bone, and flesh, because that houses everything. So, Pamela, I love what you're saying. If you want a beer, damn it, don't stereotype it as alcohol is bad. Oh, this is bad. Meat is bad. Get away from it all and ask your body, okay, I'm craving this, but is this what it's asking me for? Or is it bringing my attention to the craving because it's trying to tell me something?
Mm-hmm.
So, what's it trying to tell me? And then, if I go to indulge or partake of this craving, I want to go real slow with it.
Right.
I want to feel what this tastes like, because you could be looking at a chocolate cake or something and it's like so appealing, and then you're going to have a slice, but there's something inside you that says that's bad.
Yeah.
So slow your roll with it, take a few bites and really keep it in your mouth. Don't just shovel it and swallow
Yeah.
it. Keep it in your mouth. Let your taste buds start talking to each other. Masticate, people. Chew the frickin' food. get into the smell of it, and then prepare the stomach. The stomach is being prepared with its juices based on how long you're chewing. So you may have a whole different experience with that piece of meat, that chocolate cake, that beer, that glass of wine, whatever the hell it is that you choose. Because let me tell you something, if you were stranded on a desert island and you only had a couple things to eat, do you think you're going to sit there and go, oh, that's bad? No, you're going to learn to survive. And you learn to survive through working with thriving. Learn to thrive while you're surviving. And each cell will love you more for it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Savor it. It's like savor all things. Like I'm savoring emotion in this way too. Negative emotion, unpleasant emotions, the right word, but just this when things are coming in and enjoying the human experience because we're spirits having a human experience, not humans having spiritual experiences. We're screwing ourselves out of the awesome shit.
That's
And
right.
when we leave here, when we go
Take
beyond,
nothing with us.
and you know what happens? All your star family go, what was it like? What was it like? And you're like, oh, it was so cool. Like I had celebration and family and love. And they're like, no, dude, we don't care about that shit. We know about that. We got that down. Tell us about the stuff that sucks. I
Yeah.
want to know about mourning,
Yeah.
loss, depression, sorrow, the illusion of separation, isolation, aloneness. The aloneness part, that being alone and separate is such a peculiar experience. No one can replicate it. And then most of our negative emotions are revolved around this separation. Anyway, and so they want to know about what that's like. They want to know
Yes.
what the sucky stuff is like, and like, and it made me understand. So then when now, not that's not always my first response, though at the end response, there's always, I need to enjoy this because this might be the last time I feel like this.
Yes.
Leaving behind this
Yes.
emotion now.
Yes. Yes. And many of us have been here many other lifetimes. So we're working through the cellular DNA memory of what's been housed in here that may or may not have served us.
Right.
And then how do we make this lifetime count the most by going through the uncountable parts that maybe we've placed somewhere that we're not sure, not just our DNA lineage of our parents and the family before that. And a lot of people are commenting on the waves, and people want to identify, am I wave 1, 2, am I 3, and so on. Let me tell you, friends, I'm a 1, 2, and I'm going to keep riding it, and I'm going to turn my surfboard around when I get to 3, 4, and 5, and I'm going to come back to 1. I'm going to keep riding 2, 3. Don't get caught up in that. Just like don't get caught up into who's your star family, because
Right.
you're made of so much dust from every beautiful particle of who you are. And knowing that doesn't change the fact that you are this physical human self in this moment, me by the name of Sandra. So what do I do with what I've got? Right? How do I work with what I've got to be the best that I can be? Because I don't want to do stuff, and I don't want to do stupid stuff that I got to pay for later and
Yeah.
come back and apologize for later or redo later because I didn't stay in my consciousness
Yeah.
and I didn't taste what that cake really might have been telling me, or what
Right.
that beer or that steak or that vegetarian meal or whatever it is, or what that human connection of conversation was really talking to me about.
Yeah.
Because it all goes back to how we feel. And we're processing words and gestures and conversations through how we feel,
Yeah.
not about the little programming up here. It's very limited, very
Right.
limited.
Well said. Yes. 100%. And the to the point where you can hone your skill of just going with this food thing again. You can really hone your skill. You have this already turned on. That's why so many cultures that are like, people will go to retreats to these places where these cultures thrive that don't use utensils for when they eat.
Yeah.
This is one step of, if you're not the one preparing the food, is to touch it. And when your body touches it, then you'll get a response. Your body, your mouth, your throat, these parts of your body tell you yes or no. You'll get like a lot of people will get this thing where it's like a earthquake behind your eyes. That means no. Your body's like, I don't want that thing, and like, or you'll notice that you start to salivate, you'll start to drool, like, the other examples that people will do, they'll do the lean test. You can do this at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Or you'll say, do you want this body?
Kinesiology, yeah.
Right. And then your body will lean toward or away from it. I get shocked. I have a static electricity shock when I go to these days. I've just been working on this. Yeah. If it doesn't
I can see you now. Ow, 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 ow. Going through the grocery store. People are like, yeah, don't go down that aisle.
Yeah. Dude, it's so bad. And then if it's like if there's like artificial odor aisle, like the cleaning area, like I just start spitting. I'll go like as I'm walking through because you can taste it in your mouth. It's
No,
like,
my skin literally hurts when I'm around fragrances and cleaning supplies and things. My skin hurts.
perfume.
It literally starts to hurt.
Mhm.
It just starts to shrivel up. And of course, that's when you're like, oh, I'm going to be the salmon and I'm going to get through.
I know.
That's when you're overriding, hey, what is all this,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we have all of our physical sensories that we're really not appreciating how one can be dominant in 1 minute and another couple can be secondary and third and fourth, and then how they'll flip around. And you don't realize the fun of it until you really step into your conscious mind and close your eyes, take a sensory out of it, put an earplug in, take a sensory out of it, stop talking, take a sensory out of it. And things will smell differently and feel differently when you don't see them.
Yeah.
And lots of times when you do that, you'll reject what's coming towards you.
Yep.
It could be your favorite thing that if your eyes were open, you're like, I love that. I'm going to eat that. I'm going to enjoy that. I'm going to go do this thing. But if you were to take your sight out of it and then just touch it or work on the smell of it, you may find that it isn't the thing that you love the most at all.
Right.
And so working on those physical sensories is also going to help you hone in on the spiritual energetic sensories. And it will start firing the pineal gland and other DNA that's in here that wants to have conversations so badly, but you don't shut up long enough to let it start talking.
Right.
Yeah.
And to not listen too, like you were saying. So it's like there's the in-between stuff. We'll go on. Well, I have cartoons in my head just like everybody. Like the little thing plays, like someone triggers a thought, and I keep hitting the microphone. Someone triggers a thought, and then you have all these cool, like fun little things. But then are we going to get back on and start listening in again? Like, are we going to, come back to center, come back to, and, that's really funny. As I did that, I totally forgot we were talking.
Well, that's what's happening with time right now. It's literally taking thoughts elsewhere. It's imagining there's a fourth step when there was only three.
Yeah.
I did that yesterday and I was going down the stairs and I went to step a fourth step and I'm like, well, all righty then. I guess there was a fourth step there at some point. And the clocks are changing. It's like I can try to go to sleep and next thing I know it's morning, which is unreal for me. Or a couple hours have gone by, or maybe an hour, and it feels like 5-10 hours have gone by, and my clock my barometer is completely different. But yet, then if I go to the gym and I get on the rower, it takes forever to go through 10 minutes. So, I mean, literally, I'll stare up at the ceiling and keep rowing, and I'll look back down, fully expecting to see 2 minutes, and it's like 20 seconds. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So time is going all over the place. Energetics are going all over the place. Where are you in it?
Yeah.
Are you fighting it? Are you aware of feeling it peripherally? Are you feeling it straight on? What's talking to you? What's sharing information with you?
Yeah.
And it'll tell you the next step. There's a lot of deja vus going on right now.
Time loops.
There's so much twilight zones, what it feels like. And I don't know about you, Pamela, but for me, sometimes I look around and I see everybody as if they were prehistoric. Like this whole human species is like from the 40s or the 30s or the 20s, yet they're dressed kind of normal. But I'm feeling like, what is happening here? And instead, I wonder if I'm in slow mo, like when I'm turning, like what's my face look like? Because people will look at me like, and then also there's times where I'm not visible. I'm
Yeah.
literally not visible.
Yeah.
And people will have conversations and walk by me as if I wasn't
Yeah.
there. So I have to make sure that I know that I'm available to be there present. So number one, I don't get banged into, my car doesn't get hit. So we have to set those protective boundaries around ourselves right now, while the spirits, the galactics, the angelics are all doing so much work on our behalf. It's like moving a Rubik's Cube is what I'm getting right now. It's
Yeah.
and then you're in the middle and nothing's landing on anything yet. But you've got to get your fulcrum steady.
Right. Right. Yeah, this is exactly my experience too. And I don't know if you can see any of the comments that I've been putting up. But people are resonating with the conversation about time as well, and like it's so what's okay. We're closing timelines, just like everybody knows. We're closing timelines. This is really cool. It's a good thing. This is what time looks like, but not really. It's cooler. It's like a silky liquid solid gray thing. But anyway, paper.
Yeah.
This is time. And in order to exist within it, we had to create a cone out of it. It's not called a cone, but that's what the word I'm using because I can't think of the word. This is cylinder.
Yeah, cylinder.
And
That's a good one.
so we can exist within it, and then now we can have time. Well, what we're doing now is that and an outcome is on either side of this page, an outcome. So a timeline, is on either side. What a lot of us had been doing was we were trying to still take the timelines and stick them together, and to make them be. But what instead we've learned to do is to not acknowledge this one. This is the one we don't want. I got to fly. This is the timeline we don't want. This is the timeline that we do. This the result, and so we're focusing on this one instead of this one, and this one's going away. What's also happening now, though, is now that we exist on time in this way, then we can exist at any point we want. That we're actually able to access every part of the time rather than have to exist in a circle of it. NASA has reported that time is speeding up in their own 3D way of saying, something's
Really?
going on. Yeah,
NASA?
yeah. According to them, what they're saying is they've had to adjust the clock annually to be shorter and shorter. So that's why your analog clock or the clock that's on your stove will not stay consistent with your phone or any other digital time mechanism. Is that the time on your phone is being kept with less seconds and less minutes than the one that's the clock that they had made a decade ago.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we're closing timelines and while we close the timeline, what we're finding is it looks kind of like an iris. So it's like, and as it's closing, when it's getting down to this closing part right here, then we'll loop in front of it in order to like patrol it almost, in order to make sure that it's closing. And so a lot of people are noticing that they're doing obsessive compulsive like behavior, repetitive motion, repetitive action, feeling like they're in like Groundhog Day. And that's all fun and exciting. Last point I want to make. I love that you brought this topic up, Sandra. I hope you don't mind that I'm just going on a tangent.
No, I love it.
Okay. The last point is in the book of Matthew, I think it's 24. It's talked about. It says that it is the shortening of days. There will be a shortening of days for the elect during the time that we're in now. And the elect are chosen ones. By the way, there are multiple chosen ones, and you are all chosen ones. And so, congratulations. Now we can all get over the fact that we're worried about our ego and vanity and all that bullshit. Y'all are awesome. And we're all awesome together equally. And we all are a very important petal of a very, very awesome flower. Now what? Now it's time to straighten up your crown and get the shift going, And so here we
Open
go.
that damn window. Jump out of it. Come on. I'm waiting for you over here, people. I got my, what do you call it? That little thing the fireman, that little mini tramp thing. I'm holding it. I'll catch you.
Oh, I know you're talking about like you're like,
Yeah. I'll
jump
catch you. Come on.
here.
Jump out that window. You'll be so happy you did. Yes, you're so much more than your mind. If you don't learn how to work with it, it's very limiting.
Yes.
Very limiting. And the more the time changes and the more you stay in your body, the more you're going to be forced to feel and to filter and field through so much. And many people want to go, I don't have the time to spend on this. I got to work full time. This is painful. Make the time. Make some sort of time throughout the day, and then maybe take an hour in the evening, maybe just before you go to bed. Ask for your team to show you. Really just take the time to start finding your empowerment tools, because they're there and they will guide you to others that have tools that can help you. They will guide you. You don't have to just do it alone. I know how painful that is.
Yeah.
I've done it, and as have you, Pamela. And so we've had to learn things kind of the hard knock way. And yes, that's been very viscerally empowering. And I'm not quite sure why I had the agreement that I had to have the hard knocks, but I'm a visceral kinesthetic learner.
Yeah.
And so it hits my DNA differently. And so then I'm able to work with others that are similar to me and others who are not. But we have to start feeling the visceral, abdominal, and all of the organs that are housed in there.
Yeah.
And they're all rolling in between fat layers, my friends. Healthy fat layers and unhealthy fat layers. And it's up to you to sift through and realize what no longer serves you, what padding does not need to be there, that your organs are safe, you're safe, and don't allow that to limit, because the expansion has so much to offer you. Yeah. So open that window up. You can peek your head out if you want, but I say jump.
Yeah.
Just jump.
Go
ahead and jump.
With a celebration war cry for sure, right?
Yeah.
Like we have another half an hour, by the way. I didn't tell you this is an hour and a half long. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I'm fine with it. I wasn't sure what you were doing there. So I wanted to make sure I said something before you closed. We can go off on any topic you want, conscious, unconscious. I like the way we bounce. Yeah. I just can't wait to be in your physical presence in December.
I know.
Soulogy. That's going to be so awesome.
Yes, I'm so excited. So
Me too.
Houston for the Soulogy Fest on December 8th and 10th.
Yeah, I think I'm coming in on the 7th and leaving on the 11th. So it's the 8th, 9th, and 10th. Yeah, you're right.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there on the 4th, probably more like the 5th. Because I know their time zones, they're 2 hours ahead of me. And so, like, for instance, right now it's 3 for me, but it's like 5 there. And so, anyway, I'm not counting the 4th because I'm probably going to be like, get out of the way, like we've been on airplanes forever. It's going to be really exciting though. It's going to be so cool to be able to be in front of people who are all on this journey, and like the energy that we exchange electronically, like through Zoom, that type situations are awesome. But in person, it's a whole different animal, and I want to take a minute, if that's okay. I got a comment from a lovely.
Yeah, please do.
So between the first and really now, I'm only just barely regaining my bearings, but I'm not quite there yet. When I had an interaction, I had an inner earth being came to me on the first, and I had this huge, like, I've not had it where a being was physically in front of me in that physical of a way before. That when I wasn't asleep at all, it was just, I watched him walk up, and um, kind of thing. And for that, because usually everything I've ever had happen has been like, I become conscious or become aware, or all of a sudden they're there or something. This time it was like a real, the beginning step to the end step happened. I bring up this story because I was then made to go undergo a profound detox of the matrix is what they called it. And I've had a really awesome and frankly fucked up month. Like, it's been awesome, but holy shit, it's been a lot. Anyway, as a result, I've canceled a lot of sessions. And it's not been due to anybody in particular. I'm bringing this up because I canceled a lot of sessions, and there's a comment here. Nilza says, I felt the realness of with Pamela also. The only person I ever wanted to book a session with. Too bad it was canceled. I truly understand. And I just wanted to bring up, I never explained to anybody. I just was canceling, and like things were happening and everything, but I just wasn't able to recalibrate and regain my bearings. And so I want to say thank you for your understanding. And also I'm back on line again, and able to connect in this way. Um, it's something, I'm an example of what a lot of people are going to be going through in the next little while. A lot of your ETs are coming too. Is that something that
Are you asking them or me?
I was going to say that, and then they said
Yeah,
that's happened.
you're getting it. You're getting the message. Yeah, yeah. In March, I went to prop myself up on my bed to do a meditation, and as soon as I got on it, I was frozen, and a being appeared, and they were in a like a spaceship outfit, and they walked around the side of my bed, and they leaned and then stood back up and then popped off the helmet, and this strawberry blondie reddish hair came out, but I couldn't see a face. And then they leaned over me again, and I was trying to fight. Like, who are you? What are you doing? And it took my hands and it put it down a little bit further on its suit, its spacesuit, and it was ice cold. And I could feel how ice cold and frozen my hands were.
Yeah.
And then it placed something in my right temple. And then it stood up, and I kept asking questions, and it was saying, this lady has a lot of questions. And so it allowed me to ask questions, and I kept getting up and running across to my desk to get a notepad, and each notepad was full, and I kept coming back going, I'm running out of time. They're going to leave. They're going to leave. And then it said something to me. It said, well, why don't you ask me the question of what happens when the children escape, when the children are freed. And then all of a sudden, a loud horn went off, so loud. And then the being disappeared. And I'm looking out my bedroom window, looking around for this horn, like flashing car. I saw nothing. And then it stopped. And I was literally in this daze for like 15 minutes. I just sat there on my bed going, what just happened here? I've never had one appear so physical to me before. Now I had a session with another healer friend of mine, and I kind of got the same messages I was already getting, is that I've always been an emissary or a worker between worlds.
An
And
ambassador.
so what they were doing was helping me to remember. And of course, the next few months, I'm like, remember what? What are you talking about? I'm not remembering anything. Damn it. What are you doing? And then slowly but surely, little things have been coming up. Little things have been coming up. And it's all about energetic and what I can do with energy physically to others and things, not necessarily using a machine, just simply using my physical body.
Yeah.
And then they've been showing me different things. And what your background is right now was one of the flashes that I have gotten in my remembering. So I can't put it together. I certainly couldn't write a book about it. I certainly couldn't write the beginning, middle, and end of what it is that they're showing me. It's so scattered, but it's little pieces, and then I don't get caught up in it because I simply say, Spirit, if you want me to know more, you know what I already know. If you want me to know more with clarity and understanding, you'll let me know. So I don't run around like a little kid. You didn't give it to me, or I get mad. So I'm just really going with the flow of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my first time, and I was also told that this is going to begin to happen for others. They're going to have a physical appearance,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I could touch this person. Now, I later learned through deciphering it. I was on a walk one day, months and months later, and the reason why it came in what looked like a spacesuit was to let me know that they were me and I was them.
Yeah.
They were just on a different plane, a different dimension. And they were letting me know that because the spacesuit would represent that,
That
right?
makes sense. Yeah.
And so here I am just taking a walk and I get this download of information. I'm like, yeah, sure, that makes sense. Thanks. And I just kept going with it. So for you to say that just rung my bell, girlfriend,
Yeah.
because yeah, and it is going to be happening more and more to us and to others.
Yeah. And something else, just I don't know if you want to know this, you probably do, is that they're saying that you've had more than this experience too recently. Um, and
Yes,
you'll
thank you.
find this memory, it's happening to everybody for everybody. It's happening for everybody. This is a remembering. I get the feeling that everybody's gonna I don't know why it's seven. There's seven groups for every, hey, this has been going for 1 hour and 11 minutes. I love the ones. Is For some reason there's seven ET groups that are to come to us. But the comment about the temperature, I would like to, the temperature is a thing. Okay, and so we found this out originally because we our core temperatures are dropping. We're noticing more
Yes.
and more that most of us, like, I think it's supposed to be like, is it 97.6?
98.6
Yeah,
is supposed to be the baseline. I've never registered at that, so I've always been lower.
yeah, I've always been around 97, or had been as a younger person. However, like, I'm more like 94, 95 now. Like,
Me
on
too.
a regular,
Me too. Me
yeah.
too.
Colder temperature days are cold, though. I'm noticing that it's just like it's colder than it would have been because I'm already cold, and so I thought that I would be able to regulate. I don't think we will. I'm bringing this up because so this started happening, and I was aware of it, but then the whole lockdown thing was happening, and there were certain places that you could go in only if they held their laser gun thing at your forehead. I used to always say, can you not do my third eye? Just do the side, like, I don't want it on my third eye. And
Yeah.
anyway, they would be like, and it was good that it was winter time each time because they would just assume I'd been outside too long. They're like, 93, and you're really cold. Are you need to
Yep.
sit down?
Same things are happening to me. I get it.
And this is true too so all beings of higher frequency are colder. Light is cold. Light is cool. And so you'll find that when you raise up to a higher frequency of light, that you'll notice the temperature cools down. The being that you talked about, the coolness of his skin, of his uniform. This is a temperature that is in alignment with the frequency he's keeping, or that being was keeping. I also found the same thing. There's one fly in my house, and it has to be right in front of my face. Sorry. But anyway, it's kind of a fun little bit of information.
No, it's actually excellent because during the whole stay at home, thingy, I went through periods of what I call freezing spells. Like literally it's 90 degrees outside and I am freezing sitting on a heating pad in my house.
Right.
And I went through many different things like that for about 3 years. About 3 years off and on I would go through these, and they're energetic changes. You can call them crystalline energy. You can call them whatever you want to call them. I don't get caught up in a lot of that. I just know that I was going through energetic metamorphosis because we go through multiple multidimensional metamorphosis. This isn't just the caterpillar and the thing and coming out as a butterfly and living for 1 month. This is a constant rotation and a constant, rebooting of the cellular DNA, and temperatures were definitely changing. And so I too am down at low, and I too would go someplace where they had to check. And I'd even have them, I didn't like them doing it here either. And so I'd give them my wrist, and my wrist would be 93, 94. And then they would go, huh? And I said, all right, I'll let you, because I knew I was protected. And I'd let them do it here, and the same thing. So, yeah, I get it. The temperature of our bodies are changing because they're adjusting to what I want to call Earth's evolution. So perhaps if you want to look at that as the Earth is elevating up to the atmosphere, to a different, I don't know, equator places. I have no idea, but it's definitely cooler, because you want to know why? Because we're cool like that.
We cool like that,
We
sucker.
cool like that. As I look at it.
Cool like
I'm cool. You cool? Then we're look at us. We're already at the stop sign waiting for people to catch up. That's right.
Yeah, I'm done stopping. I'm done stopping.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming. That's the thing, is we're here.
Oh, yes.
And it's just like, and I'm that person that's I'm extra awkward in the awkward period. When I mean by that, when people are like just kind of waiting awkwardly, I'm extra awkward, because I'm just like, I'm ready. Y'all ready? Because I'm ready. And I struggle. My problem about being on time is that I'm ready half an hour early. Now what do I do with a half an hour? Let's just fucking go. Let's go. And so and then I'm late
We're
because
overly prepared. I know for me, it's like I too get very awkward. And then I'm like, can we just go already? And then I'm like, I need to put restraints on myself. And I'm like, no, I don't. So I'm a little bit of a rebel too, that rebellious thing. And the conversations that I have with myself are, put I Love Lucy to shame, because I just have all these crazy things. But and then I say to myself, what am I in a hurry for? But physically, sometimes I will feel my adrenals and my kidneys wanting to go, and I have to go, you can't go anywhere. You're in gridlock right now. Yeah. You're supposed to be just paying attention to what's going on around you. You can't get out of this. You can't jump out of your body. You can't maneuver somewhere else. You're here. Now, how are you going to contain the container?
Yeah.
And so that's a due diligence. Same with the racing mind. A lot of us have a racing mind, thinking about yesterday, thinking about what's a coming, thinking. Yeah. And there's no counterbalance of, I need to override this. Right. Override this crazy monotony of chaos going on up here. And when we do all that stuff, we're just self-inflicting wounds. Like I said before in some of my videos, you might as well just carry a taser gun around, just taser yourself, because you're just self-inflicting constantly, right. Self-inflicting.
And we're being the flailers all over again, right? I know. That's such a, yeah. We're recalibrating, and this is a good example. So talking about this, like, it's a fun, it can be a fun game. It can be a fun game to like figure out how to like find your happy place on all of these different, in all these capacities. Like, so the example that Joanna just commented is resting heart rate changing to higher BPM because of the heart palpitations and stuff. And I think this is another example of exactly what you had just said, is that learning to talk to your body and to find your own rhythm. Like, we're finding our what our real rhythm is. And so we're being given situations like, Sandra, you were just talking about being in traffic, and that's an example of teaching you, letting yourself teach yourself how to find your rhythm, and your endorphins need to stay or go, and be, and how to do that, and to process on top of what you were already talking about. This is just, it's so cool how there's so many layers to each thing that we're doing. And so the other part of heart palpitations, there's a couple of different things, but the is that we're going through a rapid self-healing, auto-healing is what they call it, and our bodies are healing. And when we're healing and recalibrating, typically our heart rate is involved. So do you have
Yeah,
any?
which some can go through high blood pressure for a couple, period of time too. And I don't say ignore that. Always get yourself checked out by your local physician, but also know that there's energetic changes that are contributing to it, but you don't ignore the medical side of it as well, because you want to coast through and stay as healthy as you can. So you may need to look into herbals or medication or things to help you soothe and smooth through it. But as an adult, I know that I keep having to create more self-soothing mechanisms. And my number one go-to is always stop, drop, sit, connect with that breath and see if I can't get myself to some kind of homeostasis so I can get a better read on the energetics around me,
Mm,
right? I'm trying to read what's happening, and I can't do that when I'm in a state of chaos or flux, or I'm floundering, or I want to go so badly, because we're missing the experiences, the physical experiences.
yeah,
I can't stress that enough. And you've just collaborated all of that, Pamela.
thank you. Yeah, we really are, and that's why I think so many of us are all of a sudden drawn to these spiritual communities more than we ever were before. Is that it's time to connect to each other to activate in this physical way too, right?
Yeah.
We're what would you like to kind of you have an awesome platform. Would you like to talk about what you do? I've never given you the chance to do that.
Oh, well, I don't really like to talk about myself except for like funny little thingies. Um, so I have a, embodiment of the soul. I have intuitive therapeutics. I have an office based here in DC, Maryland. And then I also do a lot of Zooms where I work with a multitude of different hypnosises, um, probably a dozen or more of Reiki, advanced Reiki, beyond quantum healing, past life regression, and just intuitive fielding, um, sounding boards for other people, um, to help people find their own toolboxes, find their own niches within themselves, and to give themselves credit for all that they do have. They just may have just been buried somewhere. So, I mean, I'm certified in a lot of things, but everything is custom done to the whatever the person's need is. I tune in a few minutes before I get on the Zoom or in person, and then I just go where I'm guided, in conversation. And a lot of things are like, how you get together with a girlfriend and you start talking and you bounce off each other. Next thing you know, every little thing that sort of needed problem solving was resolved. And that's kind of how I look at sessions that I do. It's kind of how I look at what we're doing right now is an example of the sessions that you do and I do. And I can't predict your future. I may get pictures and downloads about something that's happening and you can explain it, but I don't read cards. I use cards as tools, occasionally the pendulum, occasionally. Um, but I really work on how do you use your own tool before you start adapting too many other tools out there. And then you trust them more than you do your innate guidance in here, because this is where your therapy and your inner guidance is. It's all within here, and everything else is just something you can use for confirmation. At least that's my feeling on it. I don't know how you do it, Pam, but I know a lot of people focus on other things. And so that's kind of me in a nutshell. And keep it spiritually simple is something Spirit always has said to me, keep it simple, Sandy, because I'm a realist. It has to be in the real world. And how do you work it within the real world? Um, Stenography and the topo of your world, because everybody has different demographics.
Mhm.
We each have our own world of problems. And, you know, they just teach me these things about how to be simple and keep it real, and not go so far out of yourself, because most people aren't really going to learn how to get out there and how to get back, and then how to transcribe what it is they got. And not everybody can spend all that time out there or has the ability to do that. I get so much of my information just walking around the block a number of times, doing a couple poses in my house, sitting still. Just, I get it in conversations with friends like this. Um, that is where the energetics of electromagnetics and so much more comes into play, which is why I'm so looking forward to Soulogy in December,
I
because
know.
I get to physically be in the presence, and then that of itself just ignites the energy more and more, and you feel all the elements there,
Yeah.
not just the fire, all the elements.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Me too. Like I'm really looking forward to it. It's this particular gathering, and I'm not trying. I know that people are feeling like I'm overselling it, probably.
No, no, you're not.
It's important to me, this particular, and it's got like, I mean, Todd and crew are awesome people. They're really good people. It's not so much to do with them. I just barely started talking to them. Like, I mean, great people. Really happy that I get to be and share the energy of these individuals. The reason that this is important is this is a fucking important thing to do. I've been waiting to do this for a long time, and I've been seeing these images for a long time, and it's got to do equally with everyone who's going, and this group, this large group, it's going to be big. It's going to be a lot bigger than people are thinking it is. And it's when we get there, when we get in front of each other, we are going to change the molecular structure of fucking time. We're going to
Yep.
change everything in a lasting way, and it's going to echo for every step after that. I can't do any of the other steps that are important until I do this step. And so it's not that I'm like trying to rush through it to get it over with either. I'm really, really looking forward to it. When we get in the same vicinity, when we get in the proximity of each other, our equally activated heart centers, it's powerful. It's like those batteries that you have to plug in, kind of powerful. It, and that's only in a couple of months. So if you do get a chance to go, I think that they're actually still selling the early bird tickets as early bird tickets until the end of the month. So for a few more days, and then it's going to go up to like $500, which is still really affordable. I've never
Absolutely.
heard of a treat
It's
or
3 days. I was very drawn towards it too. I'm very drawn to, you know, get out there on this platform as well, because I don't know Todd and the team really. But I look at them as, they're paving a way, but all of us getting on that path make it a trail, and the trail makes a road, and the road makes a highway. And then we have more room for more people to be on it, to build and to grow and to extend, and find new territory of different platforms of being on more joy and bliss and supportive of each other, because it's very heartfelt. That's why I jumped on it. Spirit was like, gotta do,
yeah,
gotta do. I didn't question it. And but
yeah,
there'll be more. If they can't make it to this one, there'll be plenty more, and so on. But at least they can tune into your program, and eventually mine and many others that will be on that platform as well. So,
right.
which is awesome, because we needed a safe haven. Some of these Facebook, YouTubes are controlled by other people. So
Right.
it stifles the ability to express.
Yeah.
And when you have your ability to express be stifled or and limited, we wind up suppressing, and we're getting out of these millenniums of suppression. And
Yeah.
so we can express it in many different ways. We can agree and not agree, but we can still love each other and say, oh, okay, well, you believe that, but we can still break bread together, or maybe not, but we can still be okay. You don't have to make mortal enemies over standing your ground on programming that doesn't serve anymore.
Right.
People are going around and holding on to so many political, religious, financial programs that really
It
don't
doesn't even
belong to
fucking
us
matter.
anymore. And people are holding on to them as if they own it and it's their life to defend it. And it just kind of, I don't laugh at it, but I kind of like, oh, I just can't wait till the day you wake up and go, what was I doing? Why was I defending something that wasn't even mine to defend?
Yeah.
And in your defense, you may take someone else off their journey, off their path, because we're not here to be preachers or converters
Yeah.
or to have someone come to how we're really all here to just have our own way of thinking and believing and being okay in the
Yeah.
same physical vicinity without wanting to blow each other up.
Right.
Okay? Period.
Right.
And so if you get triggered by something, ask yourself, is this mine? Does that trigger belong to me?
Yeah.
And then how do I diffuse it so that I can really be a strong fulcrum? And then I can perceive energetically before I respond and deck somebody over something that isn't yours.
Right.
Period.
Right. And it doesn't even need to. That's the thing too, is the inner table before each other. See, because we're how it really works out is those of us who are in the awakening journey we're all the same person. It's really how it works. I mean, I know you like ball caps, you like, whatever. Everybody's a little bit different and they have their thing, but we're the same person. And so all of us as the same person gets around the same campfire, the same table. No one cares about any of this other bullshit. It never even fucking comes up. That's the coolest part, is that these things that you're talking about are with, Bob from next door, or Carl at the maintenance shop. We're not talking about people that are like in this awakening journey with us. And when we get together, it's magic. It's fucking magic. And we create did you know that the Schumann resonance spikes in specific places on the planet based on where star seeds are gathered?
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me a bit, but I did not know that. It would not surprise me. And that's why you'll see when souls gather what sparks happen.
And you can
Yeah.
they stop reporting it as easily. It's not as easy to you have to click and then click this link and then click here, and however, yeah, so in the beginning of 2020, when this is where I discovered it, Joshua Tree. They went to
Wow.
Joshua Tree, a bunch of people, and I wanted to go, but I couldn't. And that was when the Schumann resonance had always been around between 4 and 14. It was never any higher than that. And at Joshua Tree, during the group meditation that was 800, 900, 1,000 strong. I don't know. There's a lot of people. I'm not good at that. Once there's like a buttload of people, it's just a buttload of people. But anyway,
A buttload.
I have
Not a boatload, a buttload, guys. That sounded really good. Buttload.
Sorry. It's 3:33.
Love it.
Anyway, what had happened was the Schumann resonance spiked to 800 from the normal 4 to 14 to 800, and it was right at Joshua Tree.
Mm.
And so, and that was the first time I saw it, though. I'm just saying you can look it up, and it's really a provable point. Those of you who are asking, it is December 8th, 9th, and 10th in Houston, Texas. I have a pinned comment here from Ernestine Day. Thank you, Miss Day. www.soulogynetwork.com. This is how you can find tickets. Just go to this website. This is also the platform that this show is being aired for. It's just simply that they are so the Soulogy group are in Houston, are in Sedona right now doing a equinox shindig, a sharing of the soul, letting out some words, some energy, and some connectiveness. So anybody who's interested in joining them, find them on Facebook, Todd Medina or the Soulogy Network. Anyway, so going to this website, you can click on the festival and it'll show you you can buy some tickets there. I'm not giving you a lot of information. I hope that you can maneuver. If you can't find your way around, please send me a message. I'll help you out. Um, how can they find you, Sandra?
Me?
Yeah, if they want
Me?
an appointment.
Uh, www.embodimentofthesoul.com. Embodimentofthesoul.com. And then my YouTube channel is Sandra McEllis, or at Sandra McEllis 8876.
I'm
I'm not
typing out
I'm
my
I'm
coffee.
not good with all those linky thinkies. I'm uh I'm still a one finger texter.
I don't know if that worked or not. I just tried to make it. I'm going to show it. There we go.
Embodiment of the soul, yeah. And then my YouTube channel is Sandra McEllis, MCELLIS. It's at Sandra McEllis 8876. Yeah, and I just put out messages or something that comes through a couple times a week, or sometimes not at all. I really just kind of do it because Spirit asked me to a couple years ago, and it was the last thing I wanted to do. Was how was I going to do that? How was I going to look on camera? What was I going to say? What was I going to do? And they told me absolutely not to think anything of it. So lots of times I jump on there and haven't even brushed my teeth. So, hey, okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have the same thing. We're just like,
Yep.
I don't really want to. I actually said, fuck you to Archangel Michael specifically a few times.
But the first time he's heard that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not.
He just goes, "Oh, you humans."
Yeah. I'm more profane to spirit than I am humans. Like I speak very much like a sailor, and this is only just the past couple of like month or so that I'm letting myself um
I always have. I've always spoken very clearly. Even though I was raised, oh, you shouldn't talk to God or the other people like this. And I go, well, I use it a lot bigger than that, but because I'm not religious, but I would be like, WTF, guys, what is happening? That is not how I wanted that to turn out. I'm having a conversation with you right now. Or, hey, guys, I really kind of like that. That was freaking fucking cool. All right, let's have some more of that feeling. So I talk to them just like I talk to you. And, that's where the comedy skits come in.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm alone in my car. Thank God for when like cell phones and stuff were hooked up, because people just think I'm talking to someone on my cell phone. But for the longest time, when there was no one in the car, and there was no cell phone and all that stuff, I'd still be like,
yeah. I got diagnosed with Tourette's when I was younger because of I'll get channel messages that have to come out, and I'll try to restrain them. I'm the same. I've always been the same. I'm very profane to spirit, but what I meant is that I've worked really hard until this past month to curb my language, to be, to not offend anyone by using profanity and stuff. Humans, I mean. And I don't fucking care anymore. Like it just I think that it's probably also because I was a mother. I'm still a mother, but now she's 9 and I don't need to care. I feel like that when we allow ourselves to speak the way that our mind is talking, then we're more truthful and we're more authentic. And I don't do it to hurt anyone's feelings. And because I'm so aware of other people and not wanting to cause anyone disharmony, I was editing myself. And I realized that is stupid bullshit. But when you edit yourself to help somebody else, you're actually being counterproductive for everybody involved. And so
yeah, I have to agree with you. And it's funny about I think it was either just before the visitor or just after. Spirit kept saying, Sandy, you got to start being more vocal. You got to start being a little more real and putting it out there, because I too was kind of editing and thinking before I spoke and trying to do a more of a generalization for whoever might be listening,
right.
Kind of generalizing who might be listening, versus I don't really care who's listening. This is how I talk. This is what's going on. This is how I feel. And I've gotten more people relating to that,
Yeah.
which kind of surprised me a little bit. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not out to personally offend anyone. And if you are, just close your ears or walk away or don't listen to the
Right.
channel. But the messages really are about resonating, and you resonate not only with the words that you choose, but the way in which you're expressing them. And so there's all these different frequencies that we're using to communicate. So yeah, certain words just have a lot more flavor to them. And sometimes those F words are very visceral in
Yeah.
description. And so, yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. Um, but I'm trying my best not to do too much hiccuping, like, like, oh, maybe I should have thought about that. So that's what I mean by I don't want to do or say things that's going to cause I got to go back and redo that. So I
Yeah.
really do try to stay present in my body and think about what it is that I'm seeing, what the message is, who it is I'm delivering it to, and how can I have it come across in a way that's received, and then I let it go.
Yeah.
I don't hold on to it. I don't need to know who liked it and didn't like it. It's irrelevant to me. Um, And so, yeah. But I always say like, subscribe, and share because it helps the algorithms get the video out and going.
That's right.
But personally, if you didn't really like it, but you just wanted to help boost me, then hit the like. But I mean, like, when I say like, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was having this conversation with Elsa Dillon this the other day. We were talking, and she had a really good point. And I hadn't really put it together like that before. And that was I always like every video I ever watch, even if it sucks, in my opinion. If I share an opinion that I'm like, I'm gonna watch 5 seconds of it and turn it. I still like it. And the reason that I do is that I'm giving back. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for making this. Thank you for putting this out there for people. And it's not just in the videos. So, like other things, a smile at somebody. We're
Mm-hmm.
giving back. If we don't give something back, yeah, it's the Reiki. It's the Reiki, right? And so
Yes.
I was doing sessions for free for a while. And then um, I found that I wasn't able to. I didn't know I was a healer. Like I knew I could heal my kid. I knew I could heal me. I could heal my neighbor, but I didn't know I could do healing until someone paid me. It's the weirdest thing. And they didn't give me a lot of money. It was like a $10, here's a tip kind of thing. And that was all that they had though, which was a big statement. Anyway, by doing that, it worked. And I found that the exchange creates the availability of transmutation, the transformation of the connectiveness that needs to happen. In order to have that shared experience, there needs to be an agreement. And so this payment structure, and it doesn't have to be money. What are you giving? You're liking a video, you're giving something, you're paying something forward, then the energy can be contained for you and to assist you to lift you up. Right?
I agree 100%. I've never had an issue charging for what it is that I do, whether it was massage, whether it's aesthetic work that I do, whether it's healing work, whatever it is that I'm doing, life coaching, whatever you want to call it. I've never had a problem, saying this is my fees and accepting them because I know that there's an energetic exchange there. Now, it also affords me when someone might not be able to, spirit will say, you need to donate this one or complimentary, or, you know, you need to lower the fee on that one to make it feasible for this person. And that can come to a custom blend. But I do not go through this paradigm. You're not supposed to charge because you do. Hey, listen, if that works for you, you keep it and you do it like that. But don't put that on me.
Right.
That's your thing.
And
I can respect you for not charging, but don't throw that preaching crap over this way.
right.
Because I'm like, no, doesn't work for me.
And would you be able to do it? I know I wouldn't. If I was doing 9 to 5, there's no way in hell I would even have a YouTube channel, let alone doing sessions. I wouldn't have time.
Well, the thing too, Pamela, is we pay for continuing education. We're always taking a course. We're always paying for a course, not just because we want to improve on our toolbox, but because we're supporting someone else that's producing a course.
Yeah.
So we're going around and around and around. So this helps us evolve. It helps others evolve. And I'm not a gouger with my prices, and I know that you're probably not either. So I
Mhm.
don't price myself out like I'm all something something, and I've got to, you know, and then all I need to do is see two people a day and pay all my bills. No, that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
But if somebody else does that, that's their business. And if
Right.
somebody else is willing to pay that, that's their business.
Right.
So I too believe in the frequency of the exchange.
Yeah.
They've come to you for something, they're giving you something, you're giving them something, and it's an exchange of energy, frequencies.
Right. Exchange of energy. It's exactly right. And that was a comment I just pinned from Wendy. She said exchange of energy, give and take. Totally agree. There's a couple of questions, so I'm going to answer them really quick about
Sure.
because we've mentioned Elsa Dillon. There is a new video of Elsa Dillon, Todd, and I, where Trinity Transmission or Trinity Show that we did on Thursday. You can find that. I actually put that. I shared that on in the community section of my YouTube channel. Recently, someone asked about it, and it's also recently been shared in Facebook, I believe. But you can go and find that on the Soulogy platform. So Soulogy Studio One Studios, I think is the wording, the name, the way it's
Yeah.
set on, in the YouTube world right now. He has a second channel that he's getting ready to use in the next little while, but it's not the old channel is still active for those who are curious. So yeah, you can definitely come and check out our recent conversation. um, People are saying how much they love you, Sandra, and you're just so cool. And I really do appreciate this conversation. We could probably talk for 5 more hours and not even miss a beat. Though, my kid probably wants my attention too. So I probably should get going.
Yeah, you should. It's Sunday. She needs some mommy time.
She does. She does. It's been an emotional couple of days for everybody, but I've found that today she's emotional. So any of you who are feeling that, you're not alone. The star children are the easiest for us to find, um, to see what, to get validation, because they're the strongest, most you can feel it. And so that's why I'm bringing it out. So if any of you have the desire or drive or feelings, the sensation, the need to let out anger, frustration, irritability, or cry, just the tears. That's what I'm feeling. Is I'm just feeling the fuck everybody tears. You know what I mean? And it's not. When I say that, I'm not saying that like I'm abandoning the world. It's I'm no longer invested in y'all. And if you want to come, then come. And if you're not gonna come, get out of my way, because we are on this ascension, baby, and it's time. It's time. There are so many of us that I'm not going to waste my time listening to somebody bullshit and complain while 15,000 others are over there already doing it. You know what I mean? And it's good. I'm sorry, I'm back on the soapbox, but you know what? It's time, girlfriend. And I'm so happy that you're on this journey with us, Sandra. I hope you come back and join us
Love
on the
to.
show again.
Love to. Anytime. Anytime. You know where to find me.
I do. I do.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you. You have a
Much love,
lovely.
sister.
I love you all. Thank you all for joining.